Before proceeding with the review, here's a couple of notes. 1. This review will have spoilers for the show. Even if you haven't seen it and you've only seen the anime or read the manga, there's new stuff to cover. 2. This review is not filled with copium, nor am I a natural hater. Hence, I will not praise things for the sake of being kind, nor will I say that it's rubbish just for the memes. 3. I'll give you my score for the show right now. It's an 8. If you want to know why, keep watching the video. 4. This review is my opinion alone. It does not represent the opinion of anyone else but me. You may disagree in everything I say, and you may even like or dislike things that I didn't. For that, be my guest. 5. I will not talk about every single chapter individually, nor will I constantly compare every single detail that's different from the source material. I understand that this is an adaptation and it will not be a perfect recreation. The things I will praise or criticize are absolutely constructive and in no way intentionally harmful. With that said, no intro this time, let's get into it. I will start by saying that the show is not perfect by any means. I mean, spoiler alert, I already said that it was an 8 and not a 10. But I was not expecting it to be perfect either. But with all of its imperfections, Netflix's One Piece managed to successfully adapt a manga, and what a manga to adapt, I must say. You could have gone with Steins Gate or Attack on Titan, but nope, let's choose the most over-the-top manga in the world. But anyway, I will say that all the actors fit perfectly in the roles. Yes, every single one of them. Whoever did the casting choices for this show deserves a bloody award. Interestingly, the characters I enjoyed the most were Helmeppo, Buggy, Kuro, Mihawk, Seth, Kaya, and, in my opinion, the mad lad who shamelessly stole every single scene he was in, Gob. Vincent Regan absolutely killed every scene, and I loved every second of him. He does have a Scottish accent though, and I never imagined Gob with that accent, but you know what? It fits him well. With that aside, the main cast of actors do a perfect job in my opinion. Iñaki, Jacob, Makenyu, Taz and Emily embodied the characters. You can tell they put a lot of effort and dedication to their roles, so kudos to all of them. Also, call me a simp, but now Emily has become my crush. I just love that woman. Let's just hope no other female characters steals the spotlight. Woo! But jokes aside, everyone did a great job. There were a couple of weak performances though, and I don't mean to insult these actors, but it felt like something was missing from them. These characters were not bad per se, but I was expecting to see more of them. These were Makino, Nojiko, Genzo, Don Krieg and Jin. These were underwhelming in my opinion, but it did not make me hate the show for that. With that said, there's also missing characters. Yeah, and if you say, oh, but he was actually in this scene, mate, that is just an extra, not a character. I'm talking about the important characters from the source material. These were Jago, Hachi and Whoopslap. Basically, you've got almost every character in the show except this. It feels weird because at least Hachi is an important piece of the story in case One Piece tries to get more episodes in the future. If you know, you know. The CGI in the show was interesting. I would say that the worst CGI in the show still beats the CGI in other shows by a lot. I'm serious, I thought there would be some sloppy cringe CGI scenes, but it was well managed in the end. Caught me by surprise too. The scenery, props and locations, 10 out of 10. In that regard, I am not allowed to complain at all. Seriously, the team in charge of the ships, areas, towns and everything else knocked it out of the park. They only needed for it to be just good enough, but they raised the bar to, if it's not perfect, it's not worth it. Absolutely astonishing. The soundtrack? Well, most of the music is originally composed for the show, but there are some traces of the original OST or renditions of it here and there. What I was not expecting was to hear Being Sake. You know, the most important song in the lore that Brooke plays almost all the time. Now, when it comes to the story, it respects the source material pretty well. It was a good thing to have Oda-sensei as the supervisor of this project. Had it not been for him, who knows what the studio would have done without his permission. However, there's a couple of things to say about the story. The events do not happen exactly like in the original source, and no, I am not talking about irrelevant stuff like Nami's scene in the anime happening during the day and in the Netflix's adaptation during the night. I'm talking about events happening differently from the source material. An example of this is the amount of back and forth between the Straw Hat Pirates and the Marines. The crew basically discovers that Garp is Luffy's grandpa in the middle of the series, compared to the anime that doesn't happen until the post-Enies Lobby's arc. And that happens with other scenes as well, like Arlong arriving at Baratie with the other fishermen or Usopp kissing Kaya. Yeah, our boy got some sugar in this version, and if Oda Sensei approved it, then it is canon. One thing that surprised me though is the amount of gory moments in the show. Like, if you're a fan of One Piece, you know that in the anime version, Seth loses his leg to save Sanji from drowning, while in the original manga, Seth crushes his leg so he can eat it while being cast away with Sanji. Here, they used the original manga version. That caught me off guard. But now, with all the positive things said about this show, it comes the time for the negative ones. Again, this is purely constructive and in no way trying to be harmful to the creators of this adaptation. Remember as well that this is just an opinion and it does not represent the mentality of the entire audience. While some chapters were done amazingly well and the acting was on point, in others, they missed the mark. And I'll give you some examples of this. Shanks was very dull in the first episode of this show compared to the over-the-top charismatic and joyful one we all know. But this gets changed in the last episode where we see him meeting with Mihawk and he acts like a clown just like we know. But in other scenes, even though some moments were perfect like Seth's and Sanji's backstory, others were underwhelming. I'm not saying they were bad, but it felt like, oh, that was it? Okay, moving on I guess. Some other scenes, the acting of most actors was a bit lacking. Keep in mind that I said some and not all. This goes for all the actors in general, not just the main cast. Also, very personal opinion here, but the episodes with Kuro, they felt boring as hell. I mean, it's not like this character was the most relevant in the original story, nor was him the most imposing, but here, I don't know, maybe it was the direction, the writing, but it felt more like a 2012 fan project from a film college project rather than a millionaire production. Also, again, remember when I said that the CGI is not as bad as I thought? I stand by it. But with all the respectable and well done CGI during the show, every time you stumble upon a bad CGI, it's very noticeable, especially when you contrast it with the scenography so masterfully crafted for the show. Same goes with some practical effects where it should look more realistic, but it looks clumsy at times. Now, I was going to add this next point as well, which I'm going to rectify instead, and here's why. I was going to say originally that the show looks kinda dumb at times for the contrasts and cartoony looks of most of the characters, and if you're not a fan of One Piece to begin with, you're definitely not going to enjoy it. But instead, I thought to myself, isn't this the way I felt when I first watched One Piece? Like, is it any different other than the fact that one is animated and the other one is live action? I remember that I started watching One Piece around the same time I was watching Attack on Titan, and the difference is very noticeable between one style and the other. But still, the story managed to capture my attention enough to make me keep watching. By creating my own pact of fiction and understanding that in this world, these characters are supposed to be over the top and cartoony, I was able to break the barrier of common sense and enjoy it for what it was, and it allowed me to have a good time. And that's my second most important point. With all of its flaws, points to consider and deviations from the original source material, I still enjoyed it. Like, I understand if you did not like it at all, or if you thought it was a cringe project, but I personally enjoyed it. Keep in mind that when the first announcement came up, I was expecting something worse than a failure for this project. I was expecting it to be terrible, an insult to the source material, and completely unnecessarily. And at least, in my opinion, I was wrong. I enjoyed it. And that's what matters. Maybe I am biased because I love One Piece, but who cares? If I thought it was shite, I would tell you. I mean, I did wish Shazam and I stand by my opinion. And what's my first, most important point? They adapted One Piece. The one show I thought it was impossible to adapt, and yet they did it. And with all of these points to consider, both the positive and negative, I am looking forward to see a season 2 of this adaptation. I am dead serious. When people were saying that this project was made with love and passion, you actually see it here. I see a great potential ahead, and they can definitely improve on the formula now that the base is relatively complete. But anyway, that was my review and opinion on Netflix's adaptation of One Piece. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Why? Is there anything I'm missing you would like to add? Leave it in the comments below so I can read them, because I truly want to know your opinion. That would be it. This has been Juano, and thank you for watching.